Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the Indian economy because something pretty big is happening as we head into 2026. We're seeing this incredible mix of government reform and corporate ambition that's creating some serious momentum. So let's get right into it. Okay, so to really get what's happening, you have to look at this one blockbuster number from back in late 2025. India's economy just exploded with 8.2% GDP growth in the second quarter. Now, that's the fastest it's been in 6 quarters, and it just blew way past what anyone was expecting. And look, this wasn't just some random spike, right? Analysts saw it as a sign of a really healthy, robust economy. They pointed to things like a huge 9.1% growth in manufacturing and a big comeback in consumer spending. This stuff signals some deep underlying strength. So, what's actually fueling all this? Well, it's not just one thing. It's this powerful one-two punch of deliberate, top-down government action and ambitious, bottom-up corporate strategy. Let's break down exactly what that looks like. First, let's look at what the government's doing. They're essentially rewriting the rules of the game, fundamentally restructuring India's whole financial system to make it more stable and competitive on a global scale. A huge piece of this puzzle is a pretty radical plan for India's public banks. The main idea here is to move away from a system with lots of smaller banks and instead create a few much stronger financial powerhouses. And when I say radical, I mean it. The government's looking at a proposal to take the 12 existing public sector banks and merge them into just 4 mega banks by 2027. The goal? To create these massive financial champions that can really hold their own on the world stage. And it's not just the banks. The insurance sector is also being thrown wide open. I mean, they've been slowly raising the foreign investment limit for a decade, but now they're going all the way, moving to allow 100% foreign ownership. This is a massive shift, and it's all about pulling in long-term global money and seriously ramping up competition. And they're not stopping there, not by a long shot. The finance minister, Nirmala Sitharaman, has pointed to a complete overhaul of the customs system as the next major cleanup exercise. They want to make it simpler, more transparent, basically just make it way easier to do business. Okay, so the government is literally clearing the path and rewriting the rulebook. The big question is, how is the private sector responding? Are they jumping in? The answer is a massive yes. Private companies are seeing this new environment, and they're responding with absolutely huge new investments and some really bold strategic moves. It's just a massive vote of confidence in where India is headed. Just look at Amazon. They've announced a new $35 billion investment in India by 2030, and that money is aimed squarely at the future. AI, digitizing small businesses, and a wild plan to quadruple their e-commerce exports. And hey, this isn't just about tech. In the world of sustainable infrastructure, you have Brookfield Group making this enormous bet on green digital infrastructure. They're setting up a massive 3-gigawatt clean energy data center. It's going to be the largest of its kind in India. On top of all that, the deal-making scene is absolutely on fire. India's M&A activity shot up to $26 billion in just the third quarter of 2025 alone. That's a 37% jump from the year before, and it's happening while the rest of the world is kind of shaky. So why the sudden boom? Well, according to EY, it's kind of like a perfect storm. You've got strong GDP growth, you've got these supportive government policies, and you have companies with a lot of cash on hand looking to grow and grab market share. It's a huge sign of just how confident investors are feeling. And it's not just about buying other companies either. We're seeing some big corporate restructuring. A perfect example is Hindustan Unilever, spinning off its Quality Walls ice cream business. This move creates 2 totally separate, specialized companies. Each one can now really focus on its own strategy and its own growth. So, with the government making these big policy moves and corporations making these huge bets, what does the road ahead actually look like for investors in 2026? Well, analysts are getting really bullish on sectors that are plugged directly into consumer demand. Think autos and consumer discretionary, they're right at the top of the list. The thinking is that policy changes and more demand could drive years of growth. And of course, the super fast-growing internet sector is a clear favorite. The big picture here? The overall market vibe is really positive. After a strong run in 2025, a lot of analysts are predicting another 10 to 12% return for the main Nifty index in 2026. They think the rally has legs. Okay, but let's pump the brakes just a little bit. Of course, it's not all going to be smooth sailing. While the domestic picture looks great, there are some pretty serious risks coming from outside the country that could cause some trouble. So, a key risk is really coming from the external account. You've got high US trade tariffs hitting exports, which in turn puts a lot of pressure on the currency. And that matters, because a weaker rupee can spark inflation. At the same time, all this global uncertainty could make foreign investors a bit nervous, and that could slow down the very flow of capital that's helping to fuel this whole thing. So, after all that, what's the final takeaway? What's the one thing you really need to remember from all this? It all comes down to this two-engine growth story. You've got these bold, top-down government reforms clearing the runway, and that's unleashing this massive wave of ambitious, bottom-up corporate investment and confidence. It's that powerful combination that's really pushing the economy forward. And that leaves us with the billion-dollar question, doesn't it? As these huge structural changes really take hold, is India on track to become the world's most resilient major economy? Or are those global headwinds we talked about just going to be too strong to overcome? So that's our explainer for today. The tug of war between that domestic strength and global pressure is really what's going to define the next chapter. We'd love to hear what you think in the comments below, and hey, don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives.